Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our monthly channel webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about some New Year's resolutions to help improve Salesforce operations. And this webinar is geared towards not only existing Salesforce users in your customer base, but also if you yourself and your companies are also existing Salesforce users. My name is Jared Tunn. I'm an Associate Channel Manager at Canpango. I'm here today to discuss a few key topics related to a sort of New Year's cleaning, a fresh start to the new year. We'll briefly cover the Canpango Intelisys relationship for those that aren't familiar. And we'll also talk about talk tracks for each of these New Year's resolutions and some key opportunity suggestions for 2020. And this is a slide that we like to throw in every one of our channel webinars because this really is what we're here to do. We're here to help you guys as sales partners. We're here to help you provide a full suite of CX solutions and to help you really get into that full leadership suite at your customers. With some of your existing solutions that you're providing, you may be talking with IT management, customer service management, but there's a high chance that perhaps you aren't talking to the head of finance, the head of operations, the head of marketing, and so on. And what we're trying to do here is give you a full suite that truly brings in those key users into the conversations. And at the end of the day, it gets more bodies in the room, it gets more ears in the room listening to you, and it truly turns you into that trusted advisor for them. And at the end of the day, we're here to help you make more money because that's truly what we're all here for, to make customers happy and to be successful ourselves. A quick recap of how the partnership with us works. There's you guys all the way over here on the left. As the partners, we're here to enable you and educate you to engage your customers in discussions and to help identify possible opportunities or scopes of work for projects that we can be involved with. And we sit in the middle here and help manage that partnership between you, your customers, Salesforce, the tech stack with the various suppliers within the channel providing their solutions, and possibly any homegrown solutions that the customer may have. And now let's really get to what we're here for today, to talk about some New Year's resolutions when it comes to Salesforce and your customers, businesses, and yours. There's going to be four main topics that we're talking about today. They're going to be the Classic to Lightning switch, which is happening imminently here within the Salesforce ecosystem. We're going to talk about business process evaluation and auditing the current state of your operations, workflows, and processes, or your customers' operations, workflows, and processes before major organizational updates are made. There's a Salesforce Org Health Check, where we help diagnose what platform functionalities or features are being underutilized and whether KPIs are being hit. And then we'll finally talk about CCaaS and UCaaS integration opportunities and how that can amplify the customer experience by truly providing a nucleus that powers all the various solutions that a company is using in their tech stack for their customer management. And this is straight from the mouth of Salesforce. The future of the Salesforce user experience and platform is Salesforce Lightning. Moving forward, all innovations will be in Lightning experience. And it just kind of solidifies what we're talking about here, is that Lightning is the new user interface for Salesforce. It's the new face of the platform moving forward, and Classic is going away. And those critical changes are happening this January with the release. The winter release started in October, and that's when the functionality was beginning to be switched over. But as of January, Lightning interface is being turned on for all users that have the capabilities. So pretty much every type of license that Salesforce offers is going to be affected by this. And all of the user permissions that have this enabled will be automatically switched over in January. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like and what that could mean for you or your customers that actually are Salesforce users. So the Classic interface, think of it as Salesforce 1.0. And like any company that's constantly evolving, especially, let's face it, in the software as a service and cloud technology markets, these are some of the most rapidly evolving sectors in the world. And it makes sense for Salesforce to have a major overhaul at some point to really update and overhaul their user experience. And that came to fruition with the decision for Salesforce Lightning interface. Some of the main issues that you're going to see with this are some breakages with JavaScript buttons, which if you are a current user of the Classic interface, JavaScript buttons are a really large key component to the user experience. And these are no longer even going to be visible necessarily on any given page within a user's Salesforce org once that is switched over to Lightning. And obviously there's a massive business impact because that custom code that's been developed to create those JavaScript buttons, when that's translated into Lightning, there's a very good chance that it's not going to work. You're basically going to have to either have a very capable developer on hand or hire a partner or developer to completely rewrite all of that code. So, things like running validations, if there's pop-up errors, if there's buttons that take users to third-party sites or outside sites, really any kind of action that's performed by a JavaScript button is going to need to be rewritten. However, if you use a partner like Canpango, you're going to be able to convert them quickly to quick action buttons or what is called a Lightning code-based solution. And if you have a Salesforce developer on staff, like I said, this is something that you may be able to handle, your customers may be able to handle, but it's definitely something that the average Salesforce administrator or Salesforce user is not going to be remotely able to manage. Another thing that's going to be severely affected by the switch to Lightning is Visualforce pages. And now these are the 100% driven by the code that the developers originally created for that user interface. And that's an HTML style with a bunch of tags for Salesforce that provides that software to pull in all of the data that it needs. And now these can exist in Classic and Lightning, but with Lightning, there's a way to dramatically improve the user interface because it has a certain look to it. And let's face it, in the day and age that we're in now, your user experience is incredibly important, both for your customers, but as your employees as well. And if you're using a solution that is clunky and old and the functionality isn't really efficient, that's not going to create a positive environment for your workers and your employees. Above and beyond the fact that these changes are being necessitated, it's really just good management practices as a Salesforce user to make these changes. Also going to be some issues with multiple managed packages. And for those of you not familiar with managed packages, basically it's a collection of application components within the Salesforce App Exchange, which is very similar to the App Store for Apple. You basically go in there and there's thousands upon thousands of various apps and solutions and bolt-ons native to the Salesforce platform, where you can basically accomplish any type of process that you need that isn't a native functionality of the Salesforce cloud platform. And when you have these managed packages, they're all associated and all that code is custom written already by that developer. And while many of these developers have rewritten code so that it will work in Lightning, some of them haven't. And any of those that are switched over to Lightning experience will not maintain their current functionality and will require new code to be written. And then lastly, one thing we want to touch on is content management. Currently, there are 3 ways to save files in Salesforce, and they are attachments, a file function, and then a content function. The attachments are basically like it sounds, like you're just attaching a file, whereas the files function is a repository of content, and the content is a way to send a package of encrypted files to an outside party. And when these switch to Lightning, what basically happens is you have the existing lists of attachments that will maintain and still have their links that will work properly, but you won't have the ability to add or edit any of these attachments that have been put onto various objects within the Salesforce org. So Salesforce does have a converter that takes these attachments files and moves them into a file record, which by cleaning house that way, it's installing a converter that it's not easy for your average Salesforce user to be done, but it's not impossible. And that way it moves the attachments into a way that you can continue to add on more files and PDFs to an existing object. And why we love touching on this one, I know we've done multiple webinars that have touched on the Classic to Lightning migration, and one in September that was dedicated entirely to it. But we really want to make it clear how low-hanging fruit this really is. This is a conversation that if you have any customers who are existing Salesforce users, you should be having this conversation with them this week, next week. You know, it's a time crunch now with when this switch is happening next month. And we have a lot of email templates that we can give you guys as a guide to start that conversation and to inquire about whether or not those existing users are going to need some help with migrating to Lightning. So those are available in the on the My Intelisys site, but also, you know, get in contact with me. I'm more than happy to send you guys any kind of content that may be applicable and helpful for you, including these types of email templates to get that conversation started. And these kind of conversations really just start the whole ideas flowing within your customer's head, or they should have. This is a really good time to just figuratively get under the hood of our organization and really take a look at the operational efficiencies and how they're doing. And we have a list here of some key indicators that operational efficiency is not going very well for your customers when they have heavy reliance on paper or Excel documents to track customer activities. You know, the days of relying on paper documents and very simple Excel files is over. There's just too many options and solutions out there that provide a much better experience for both employees and customers that it's just, it's going the way of the dinosaur, for lack of a better term. If they have consistently poor customer experiences, another key indicator that they need some efficiencies reworked. If the employees are complaining about process woes, again, you're looking at your workers' experience along with your customers' experience throughout these processes. You can't really have happy customers unless you have happy workers and workers that are able to work efficiently. Another good time to look at outdated software programs. Are there current solutions that are easier? Are there updates that can be done? Are those solutions integrated with a Salesforce org? Can they be integrated with a Salesforce org? There's a lot of efficiencies that can pan out that way. If there's multiple solutions that they're already using that don't talk to each other, don't communicate, you know, again, we're talking about siloed data, siloed databases, siloed solutions. If a customer is paying all these licensing fees for various solutions and they're not even communicating with each other, and you don't have a CRM like Salesforce at the nucleus of all those interactions, then it's a silly business practice and you're not remotely getting the value out of your licensing fees that that customer is paying. So here's a few more questions to get that conversation started. You know, are you still currently using Salesforce? Do you have UCaaS or CCaaS solutions that are managing customer data? Are they siloed? Are they integrated? Are they currently effective to what the company needs to use them for? Are there any proprietary or industry-specific systems that need to be integrated, that needs to be working with your CRM or working with other customer service or internal solutions that you have? Again, are we over-reliant on spreadsheets? Are we over-reliant on paper documents? Are we, you know, people that are still using Iron Mountain to store stuff for 7 years when there's all these solutions out here to better manage and create efficiencies for your company, for your workplace, for your customers? It's just really a no-brainer. And then a couple more here that you can see. And then checking the health of your Salesforce org. And this is something that we can help with as a partner. There's certain diagnostic reports that can be run to show what's being utilized properly within the Salesforce instance, what's not being utilized properly. You know, there's also, you're able to see exactly what KPIs are you being successful at hitting. Does the customer or does your company have KPIs that are even established at all? Another thing that we can help with. And this is a big one here, this third one, understanding whether or not leads are being scored correctly. That's a really big part of what our CRM is for, and especially you know, a service management, a ticketing one such as Service Cloud. And lead management and lead scoring is so important because especially a company who's getting in, perhaps thousands of leads on a weekly or monthly basis. You need a really efficient way to track which one of those leads are going to be the best opportunities to become closed deals. And if you don't have efficient scoring metrics, if that point system per se isn't set up properly to make sure the attributes are identifying leads properly, you're going to be having a much tougher time making sure that the leads that you're spending time on, or the leads that your customer is spending time on, are the ones that they should be spending time on. And then obviously we want to always ensure that the pipeline data is currently reflecting the correct operational metrics. Data is only as good as how you use it, and Salesforce is one of those tools that truly allows you to analyze all of your data in very detailed and efficient ways. And in order to do that, you want to make sure that your data is clean and correct. So we want to come in there and help you make sure to scrub that and make sure that's being scored correctly, and make sure that utilization is being done appropriately by sales teams. And lastly, we want to talk entering the new year about ways to create opportunities with UCaaS and CCaaS integrations. We touched on this a lot more extensively in last month's webinar, but there's really three key scenarios that present themselves for integration opportunities. And those are existing Salesforce users that you have are possibly talking to that are in need of a UCaaS or CCaaS solution, existing UCaaS or CCaaS users that are in need of a Salesforce solution, i.e. a CRM, or a new customer that's looking for a 360-degree solution to help drive both customer and worker experience. And now there is a fourth one. We won't touch on it much because it's fairly uncommon, but occasionally there's a scenario where there will be a customer that's perhaps currently using Salesforce and also currently using maybe a contact center solution or some kind of Ring Central 8x8 unified contact solution internally, but none of these solutions are currently talking together. The reason we don't see this very often is because generally companies are much better at managing solutions than that. If a company is going to have Salesforce and multiple communication solutions, chances are they're doing their due diligence and they've already looked into or already have connected those. But just in the back of your minds, keep that, keep that at the top of your minds that can also be a solution that presents itself. But we do have a couple real life examples that I want to quickly touch on just to show that these opportunities do exist. They're out there. You guys just have to find them. We're here to help you do that. We're here to enable that. We just are currently working on a large deal that was an existing Salesforce user on their sales team in a small function. And they weren't really looking for new Salesforce technology to add on. However, they were having a lot of issues with lead management and customer relationship management overall. And they also needed to implement a contact center solution. So we were one of three different proposals that came in, and we ended up winning that deal with a CCaaS solution with New Voice Media. And now we're doing a 300 contact center seat pilot with them with additional pro services for the integrations to Salesforce that will help them lead score properly and properly manage their leads and customers. So that's a really good example for us. And the great thing is that this is just a pilot that could eventually grow to several thousand seats and probably over $1 million worth of pro service fees on our side. And that's, you guys are obviously very familiar with the monthly recurring revenue structure and the types of revenue that sales partner is getting from New Voice Media. But then also you have the fees that we add on for pro services, which currently stand at 20%. That 20% is paid out on all project fees to Intelisys, and they pay out you guys based off of your current contracts that you have set up. So obviously it's not a monthly recurring revenue, but lots of evergreen revenue opportunities there, a lot of multiple phase projects that we do. So it's a really nice way to add to and supplant to your current revenues, and also to kind of diversify the methods at which you receive revenue. Another one that we're working on currently is for a large company that has an existing contact center. And this company is a subcontractor for a big Department of Labor contract that is basically doing all the workforce comp requests. And the contractor needed a subcontractor purely for the contact center piece, but then they needed to integrate with a Salesforce solution that they were using. And that also involves a lot of data pulling from the Department of Labor's niche homegrown solution as well. So a lot of complexities to that one, and just a really good example of how Salesforce CRM can be added to an existing contact center solution. And then the third one, we're going to move on to this slide here about InterCeramic. This is a deal that came to us through the partnership channel with a partner based out of Dallas. And this is a really good example of a company that was just struggling overall with their growth and with their customer management. And they didn't have really any quality solutions in place. They had mismanaged customer account information, limited perspective on their pipeline data, no optimization, a lot of redundant interactions between sales reps, customer service reps, really just disjointed processes and management overall between sales and warehousing and customer management. And this isn't a small company, as you can see. This is a stone, ceramic, and porcelain tile and counter manufacturer that is based in Texas and Mexico and has almost 400 stores worldwide, including the US, Mexico, Guatemala, and China. So there's a lot of complexities with this one based off of the various departments involved, the various locations involved. And what we were able to do is come in and do a really deep diving discovery process. And we saw that they really just had all these issues, and we were able to discover and generate and formalize new sales processes, including new lead routing, new lead assignment, and then having that all translate into Salesforce and have it all be migrated over. We were able to build a Salesforce integration for not only their ERP database, which was an Oracle product, but also a POS system that they were using, and that all integrated to their Sales Cloud. We're also able to design a mobile application interface so that all of their sales field team, all their install teams could have access, as well as providing email Salesforce functionality so that they can easily track all email interactions. And what we've seen through this implementation, now that it's been done and they're reaping the results, is an improved worker experience because we've eliminated a lot of really dated account management methods and inefficiencies. And we've elevated the customer experience since there's more regulated phone call and email tracking. All of that information is directly flowing into those objects in Salesforce. So whether you're on the sales, customer service, install, whichever department, you're going to have insight into those most recent interactions. And it's really boosted the customer engagement and formed deeper relationships with their customers. And then due to the other efficiencies, we're able to make sure that order statuses, back orders, orders en route, and really all things logistics have been more efficient, and everyone's got more insight, including the customers, into that. Lastly, we just want to let you guys know, we're here, we do these webinars. We have all this content that we've created specifically for the channel. We are very much invested in you guys as partners. We're very much invested in this channel. We see how much value Intelisys brings as a master agent, and we're really excited about continuing to grow. And we're really all about educating and enabling you guys. So please never hesitate with questions. Hit up my Intelisys for our supplier page for a lot of content. Please call or email me if you have any questions. You just want to hop on a 30-minute call and discuss how you might be able to start identifying potential opportunities, how we can best work together. Obviously, if you have any specific any specific requests for types of materials or marketing content, we're always willing to take suggestions from you guys to just make sure that we're creating efficient and useful materials. So please don't be shy in that regard. You will receive an email from me within the next day or so with a recording of this webinar and a link to some other materials. So please feel free to respond. Make sure to review that. Feel free to share it with other partners, and hopefully you see a lot of use out of that, and we can really hit the ground running together in 2020. So real quick, I just want to see if we have any questions. Okay, it doesn't look like we do. So please, if you do have any questions that end up popping up at a later time, today, tomorrow, next week, whenever, please never hesitate to reach out to us. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Happy holidays, everyone.